Douglas, I said he's a Brit abroad. He's a Scot abroad, I understand. He's been living in Germany for 10 years. He joins us now. Are you, Douglas?
How are you, okay?
Yeah, we're good, thank you, Douglas. Yeah, so have you been following the career of Tuchel over there?
Well, I've lived here in Germany for just coming up to 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known his from his start in Mainz and through to Dortmund and then to Chelsea and obviously to Bayern Munich as well.
Do you think a good appointment for England?
Yeah. I think he's got the best man. I like him. He's the best manager. I think he's a lot better than Klopp. I think the only thing that defines him for anybody, the manager, he's got the kahunas to talk to the people, the sports directors and everything above them, to tell them that he doesn't like what's going on in the club.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more...
Yeah, but he won't have that problem,
There's a lot more politics in club football, which I think has been a problem for him, than there is in international football. But I mean, you haven't got to manage up maybe quite as much as you used to at the FA. Where it will get difficult, as we've kind of got a flavour of in the press conference, will be the media. If he has a couple of bad results or bad performances, that's when he can get quite spiky, can't he? As you know, Douglas. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason he lost his job in Dortmund was because of the bomb attack on the coach.
That's right.
And then on the coach going to the Champions League game, and then the sport director and the sports manager, Michael Zorc and Anne Watzke, they went straight to the TV people and said, it's okay. The UEFA has told them, it's okay, we'll play the game tomorrow, no problem. And apparently they never actually asked Tuchel or the players how they were feeling.
Yeah. Well, no, Douglas, we're going to have to leave you now, but lovely to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. There's Douglas calling now over in Germany, who's been following his career. Someone else who's gone in depth in his career alongside Tobias Shakhtar was Daniel Muren.
The title's instructive, isn't it?
He co-wrote Thomas Tuchel Rulebreaker. You're right, the title is instructive, Andy. And Daniel joins us now. Good afternoon, Daniel.
Good afternoon to England.
Are you surprised he has taken an international job in football at this stage of his career? Were you expecting him to return to club management?
Well, I was expecting him to go to England again because he loved the time in Chelsea. He fits to English football. And yes, I thought it's possible that he is becoming a national coach already in the age of 51. For sure, he is also a club coach who needs the competition every second day. But he also knows how to handle the national team, I'm quite sure. And he will enjoy having more time and then to work for 4 or 5 days before a match. That's both of it. It fits to Tuchel, and he will be back in a club football later on, I'm sure. But I'm not so surprised, no.
At Bayern, would it be right in saying that he basically, once it was known, wasn't it, that he was going to leave, and then the results kind of improved a bit. They didn't ultimately win the title. How do you judge his time there? Because that was a big job.
Well, it was a big job, yeah, but Tuchel resisted to the Bayern system, I would say. He wasn't satisfied by the style. He was surprised by the chaos in the club. And he just said, well, okay, if you don't want to improve in my sense, if you don't believe in my way, so it's no problem. I'm going on, and I don't worry. So he was different in the style of really being resistant to this Bayern Munich style. That's why I don't really say he it was a bad time for him. He learned a lot. He expected a lot more of professionalism at Bayern, and he was surprised about the chaos, I think.
You called your book Rulebreaker. So what is it about him that makes him a rule breaker, and what you think could benefit England from that persona?
Well, he was more rule breaker in the younger years for sure, because that was his biggest quality, to come to Mainz and also to Dortmund and to do things totally different and to really break the rules of how to train a team, how to prepare. He still has, I'm sure, the quality of rule breaker. You don't need it so much at Bayern Munich. But I think at a national team like England that has big quality, but never wins the titles. I think then that he tries to break this rule at least, and that he can change the mindset perhaps of the team, and that he will have ideas how to get rid of the past.
There are better paid jobs in football than being the England manager. It's probably around £5 million and sort of bonuses if you do win things. Daniel,
only.
Not bad.
There are other jobs out there. I mean, if you ever fancied, going to work in Saudi, for example, or going in, another big job would have come up for a man who's won what he has won. He has kind of effectively taken a pay cut to take this job, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about, in Germany, and especially here in Mainz, in my town, the hometown of where Tuchel developed, the town where Jurgen Klopp developed. We had two big news in the last week. Jurgen Klopp joining Red Bull, and a job that probably the most people would think that's for Tuchel, because Tuchel is like a brain and he's not thinking about romantics in football. And then Tuchel gets the job of the English national team, what is a bit like romantic, only paid, like you told me, with only £5 million. So, that's a little bit the curious thing that they changed the role. Tuchel got the job. I think Klopp was the chosen one. You have in England the special one, the normal one. For the England job, I thought Klopp is the chosen one. But now I think perhaps Tuchel is the perfect one who fits especially for the World Cup. I don't know. So you're right. I think he decided different to Klopp. He did decisions also in the past. Klopp is doing a lot of TV spots. Tuchel never did. So it's because Klopp is much more attractive for public relations and so on, and for economy. But Tuchel never tried to make all money. Perhaps. I'm not sure. I don't know him personally in this style, what he's thinking about money, but he doesn't care this lot about, I think.
One of the most famous incidents that happened to him here was when Chelsea played Spurs, and it was a pretty controversial. It's always controversial when Chelsea plays Spurs, but this was particularly controversial, a 2-2 draw, and he got into a spat
over a handshake.
Yeah, with Antonio Conte. You can't really afford to do that, can you, when you're an international manager? I think you have to behave slightly different.
Yes, it's slightly more ambassadorial, maybe.
Yeah, so that's on the pitch, he is on fire. Yeah, he is exactly the same as Klopp. So Klopp didn't have the incident with Conte like this, but he had incidents, especially also once with the guy called Thomas Tuchel when he played with Dortmund against Mainz. They had nearly an infight. They stopped 3 meters of each other, so it didn't give a handshake. Well, I think he knows that in international matches he has to behave even a little bit more, but I think he will respect it. I think he did a lot of respect in other situations in England. I think I heard about that he had a lot of respect about the rituals in the game and so on. We in Germany, we think really I especially think it's a romantic thing. He is choosing the big thing, the prestige thing with the 3 lions and not one Red Bull.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I've not thought of that juxtaposition, but it's interesting. I would contact your publishers, Bite Back, to see if they can put out some more copies of yours and Tobias's book, Daniel. I think it's going to be quite popular. I think Andy's found this in his book collection because he's a Chelsea fan. That's why he had it. So, I take it it's still available.
I hope so. Yeah. Perhaps not. No, I hope not anymore this morning. Perhaps.
No, that's right.
It was. You could buy it yesterday.
Good stuff. Okay, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much to you. Good luck.
There we are. There's Daniel Meeran there, the co-author with Tobias Schechter of Thomas Tuchel Rulebreaker, published by Bite Back, and I'm sure you can still find a copy.
I'd love to know what Klopp thinks about this.
Well, I'm sure he'll be asked.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll be asked about it. It'd be interesting. One of the other questions they'll ask him is, were you approached? I mean, if you're going to ask the top 10 managers in terms of success, would you approach Jurgen Klopp?
You would.
If you're approaching Thomas Tuchel, you're approaching Jurgen Klopp. You're asking the question.
Definitely.
Sounds like this job with Red Bull's been in the pipeline. And it's interesting, Daniel, say that you would have thought if the two men had taken the other roles, you wouldn't have been at all surprised.
No, interesting.
Hawksby and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.